the story I tell about Joe that I don't know if you guys heard this one before. You know, we lose game 6. Let's go back to the 2023 playoffs, second round. Joe just got back. He was injured in the first round. He had the 4 goals in game 1 against Seattle, which to me might still be the greatest moment in Dallas Stars history, other than the 1999 Stanley Cup. At least individual effort, right? Like that was just, especially because the injury came back from the injury, he was at home. It was unbelievable. The only thing is we lost the game. But let's go back to that series. Game 6, I don't know if you guys remember, in Seattle, we got smoked. We had a really tough night. There were a couple players on our team that had tough nights. We stayed over that night because, as you know, Luds, when you fly back from the West like that, you can't get back at 5 in the morning and then play a game.
Which
7.
I have a question about that too, but
okay,
go ahead.
Let me finish this story first.
I'm not going to ask it though.
Anyway, so we stayed over that night at the hotel. I was down at the team meal. On floor 1. I'm going up to on floor 6. The elevator stops at floor 3. Opens up. Here comes Joe Pavelski. It's like midnight. He goes, "Hey, what's going on, Jenks?" I was like, "What are you doing?" He's like, "Oh, I was down in so-and-so's room, just trying to encourage him." I'm like, "Okay." He goes, "What room you going to?" I go, I'm on the 6th floor. He goes, "Yeah, let's go." So I go. He walks in. It's 12:10 now at night or whatever. Comes in my room. We sit there. We talk for about 20 minutes, just about the game, about, what do you see? What are you seeing upstairs? We were talking about things. I told him another player that I thought was struggling that I had talked to after the game. He's like, "Hold on." Sends a text message. He goes, "Oh, he's still up. I'm going to go down and talk to him in room 422 or whatever it was." He goes, "I'll see you tomorrow morning on the bus." I said, "Great, thanks." That's what he was doing after a game 6 loss. He's going around the hotel after midnight and he's trying to encourage guys to get them ready for what? Game 7, which we ended up winning. And that's the type of guy he is. That's what he brings to an organization. I think, you said it, Owen. He's an extension of Pete DeBoer and the coaching staff. He was an extension of our management staff. You guys want to know how his contracts got done? His contracts, not his first one when he signed the 3-year extension. We didn't know each other. But his contracts got done with late night calls to me saying, "Hey, can you and Jim meet tomorrow and, try and figure something out on an extension? I want to work with you. I want to see what the cap is, see what you guys are thinking. How can we do games played? I respect you guys. We don't need agents involved. Let's just get something done." Okay. Yeah. Well,
so
let's meet
he did
tomorrow.
His own contracts.
He did his own contracts.
At the end.
He would just call me and then him and Jim would sit down and we'd hash it out. It'd take a couple days. We respected each other. I think both sides, there was trust. And we got both extensions done. The 2 extensions he did with us for years 4 and 5 here were done that way. And that's just what type of guy he is. And it was all about the team.
So
that's
how do you, with a guy like Joe, that obviously love to have him here, how do you dangle something and to get him to come, or do you give him space? And I know that's with every player that retires, those guys, they need some time and get back with the family. How do you dangle it, and where would you want him? Like, what do you think would be the ideal? I mean, I have my idea, but what would be the ideal spot that the organization would like Joe Pavelski to land in?
Yeah, so the first thing is he's really into his hunting and fishing and golfing, and he coaches his son Nathan Pavelski's hockey team in Madison, and he loves he's very passionate about that stuff. He's unbelievable. He was the coach of my son's team because he played with Nathan for the last 5 years for the Elite. He was an assistant coach there. Loves it, and he's passionate about that. So he's got to be ready to do something. I think how you dangle it is you just make sure he knows, which he does, that we love him and that there is always a door open. And it's at whatever, whether it's coaching, management, player development, scouting, any and all those things. I think for Joe, it probably would be, let's get your feet wet, see what you like, maybe do all those things at some point and see what sticks. I think he would be an unbelievable coach. Unbelievable
just
coach.
Being a sounding board in general for players to come and, you probably don't remember. Gainey had me do that one year, and it was mainly because of relationships with Hitch and things like that.
Yeah.
And it's funny, like Bob just said, you're going to get an office upstairs. I'm like, okay. I'm like, what? Why do I get an office? And I actually, Bob kind of speaks in crypt.
Yeah, he does.
Yeah. And I called Lisa after that. And I'm like, Lisa, I don't know what the hell he wants me to do. Like, he didn't say anything. Well, Les, you got to ask him. So ultimately what he wanted is he just said, I want you to have an office upstairs, and it's going to be in the back. They can come out the back door, and guys want to come and talk to you. You can either make the decision, come to me with it, go to Hitch with it, or take care of it yourself.
Yeah.
And it was actually interesting to see the players that did come. It's some of the big dogs. And all they wanted to do was vent.
Be heard.
And the best thing is, and I want to throw Mo under the bus so hard right now. And I think I will.
You already have.
So
do it.
So I talked to Mo, and he came up and he would complain about the natural things, ice time, practice, and all that kind of stuff, and Hitch in general, and all this. So I kind of slipped out. But so we get on the ice a couple days later, and he would skate by me, and he just tapped me on the pads, and he'd give me the old. That
oh, I know
that
exactly.
You know
that
what I'm
look.
talking about.
Yeah.
And so I'm like, what was that? And so here I am trying to catch Mo because I was going on the ice with the guys too. And ultimately I said, everything cool? He goes, oh, so much better.
Feel way better.
I never said a word to no one.
Yeah.
I didn't say a word to
you were
no
a
one.
mental. You were a mental skills coach
I thought you
before
were
they
going
were
to say
a mental skills
midget.
coach.
I thought you were going to say midget.
No,
but,
I would never say that.
But it was that, and it was just, and that's why I think of guys like Joe. Like, he would know what to dissect.
Exactly.
Like, he either handled it himself, or he would know how to talk to him. Again, I've never played with him at all, but he just seems like a no-brainer, and you never would want to let a guy like that get away from the organization. And I think you guys are handling him the right way after post-hockey.
Let me ask you something, Les, real quick. So, who poured into you when you were in Montreal?
What do you think?
As a younger player, Bob?
It was. I'll tell you what. As a rookie, as a rookie. And now we're owned by Molson. Were we getting way off track here?
No, keep going. You're fine.
We're owned by Molson.
I'll
So
let
every
you know.
time we get on a plane, there would be 2 cans of Molson in your seats, right? So everybody had that. Anyway, one game, we'll probably play 20, 30 games in the NHL. And I'm sitting up front, all the big dogs are in the back. And I feel this guy tap me on the shoulder. It's Bo, and he's standing there, and he goes, grab 4 beers and come back and talk to me. Oh, and then he stopped me, turned around, and he goes, grab a napkin and a pencil. I mean, that's like, anyway, yes, sir. So I go to the back, and he moves over and he sits down. And he says, draw up our penalty killing. Like, what do you think about the PK? And Bob, like, so I draw it up. I slid it over to him. He'd crack a beer. He'd take a drink. He'd look at me. He'd look at the paper. He'd look at the beer. He'd look at the paper. He'd look at me. Then he'd go, no. That was all he said. I'm like, geez,
I a few words.
Yeah, I just pissed off the captain of the Montreal Canadiens. But anyway, that's how he taught.
Yeah.
He would throw something in front of you, see what your response would be, and then he would tweak. And to this day, he's hard to talk to at times because he's analyzing. He's 24/7 game.
He's so smart.